Hey guys, this is Brooksman087. Welcome to my video review of the Nova Taran Tactical Innovations Combat Master Slides for your Tokyo Marine Glock 17. So as usual, Nova slides come in a thin transparent box that is susceptible to damage on the left and right side, as you can see. But my TTI slides came from boomarms.com with their speedy shipping and customer service. And most importantly, all my slides arrived in perfect condition. Big thanks to Johnny from Boom Arms for helping me out with my last minute order. And out of the box, what you will get is an aluminum TTI style rear iron sight, a 1mm fiber optic front sight, and you have to install the fiber optic yourself. Do note that you only have about 1 centimeter's worth of fiber optic, so you only have about 1 or 2 shots at installing it, so please be careful with yours. The package will also come with an extractor, an outer barrel for whatever length slide that you have, and do note that the first batch of TTI slides, they come with a bright golden yellow colored outer barrel, while the second batch, or whatever batch that came out in April, it comes with a satin nickel color. I'll let you guys figure out which one looks better. Let's first go over the features. So the TTI combat slides feature a window cut on the left and right side to reduce the weight of the slide, enhanced forward and rear serrations for easy slide manipulation. It also has beveling to most of the rounded edges of the slide, but the beveling is not as extensive as some of the other aftermarket slides like an SAI G34, and also, to my surprise, the beveling at the rear of the slide has a bit of a curve to it, which exposes a little bit of the rear chassis, as you guys can see on my build. Moving on, we have a few traditional dish cuts on the left and right side of the slide, with a few laser engraved TTI markings and one deep engraved TTI logo on the top of the slide, near the front of the chamber area. And then the slide, of course, is topped off with a matte gray finish, that's how I would describe it, with a beautifully polished side finishing. For the silver slide, it has a matte silver finish, and the side polishing is very crisp and clean looking. You can actually clearly see exactly where is polished and where it's not polished. It's much clearer on the silver slide. Building the slide was actually quite easy. I only spent about 5 minutes assembling it, but before that, I actually spent most of my time building the frame, doing the finger grip removal, as well as the grip undercut over here to get a higher grip on the Glock frame. And of course, the stipple job, which you can see over here, which was done using an RTS small waffle pattern tool, which you can see right over here. I also used the small circular waffle pattern tool to fill in all the large areas of the frame. Before you stipple, I suggest you use a soldering iron with a sharp tip and a pencil to outline your stippling area to help organize your stippling workflow. Something that I neglected to do, but it turned out okay in the end. I'm not too proud of what I've done over here. Let's talk about the technical notes that I have for this Nova TTI slide. So all you really need to do is to extract the slide internals of your stock TMG17 slide or WE-G17 and transfer them over to your Nova TTI slide. If you are unfamiliar with the assembly and disassembly process of an Airsoft Glock 17 system, you can check out the suggested video, which will appear somewhere on screen for you guys. My first note is the blowback housing unit, or the BBU fitment. The blowback housing unit is the part that houses the nozzle at the back of your slide. So the stock WE BBU, which is the one that I have in my hands, fits in perfectly fine with no modifications required, and it appears to go in with no effort. However, for the stock Tokyo Marine blowback housing unit, it appears to have some trouble going in, and it makes people think that you can press fit the blowback housing unit into your slide. You can in fact do that. However, may I remind you that if you press fit a bullet housing unit into a slide, you will have a lot of trouble taking the bullet housing unit out of the slide. So what I suggest you to do is to remove the casting marks on your stock Tokyo Marui bullet housing unit located over here, here, as well as over here and here as well. And afterwards, when you modify it, it should look something like this. You can do it with a Dremel tool, sandpaper, or a small handheld file. And notice now that it actually drops in with no effort. Before I move on to my second note though, please understand that pretty much all Airsoft G17 systems and its copies will encounter something called the rotor issue, which is when the slide gets stuck or slows down as it approaches the round rotor on your hammer, which is right over here, resulting in a slower cycling speed, all of which is perfectly normal for a stock TMG17 system or a WEG17 or any of its replicas. The reason why you don't see the slide slowing down as much on my own personal build is because I'm using the RTS 7075T6 aluminum bullet housing unit with something called the integrated IPSC modification, which reduces the rotor issue along with a few other advantages. But the main advantage though is that it increases the cycling speed and gas efficiency with a simple BBU swap, and the rest of the internals in this Tokyo Marui G17 base that I used remained completely stock. Only the TTI slide, the garter frame, the RTS BBU that I mentioned earlier, and the UAC ghost ring sight has been swapped out, and that's the part list. Everything else is completely stock for now, and I have no plans of adding anything else in the future for my own personal John Wick TTI Combat Master build. For my third fitment note, it's a very minor problem. You only need to follow these instructions if you happen to be having these problems. If you don't have these problems, just ignore it. Don't do what you don't need to do. So, it appears that there's a bit too much metal on the left side of the outer barrel that contacts the stub of the hop-up chamber. Because there's too much metal, what will happen is that you will notice that the chamber does not drop freely from the outer barrel. It does not move freely. Normally, it's supposed to be able to move. If it's not able to move freely, what will happen is that the startup of your slide, notice how the outer barrel moves, notice how it drops. Before it can drop, it first has to unlock itself from the chamber. That's what allows it to drop in the first place. If it cannot do that, your gun will not move. So what will happen, so the problems that some people may have is that when you fire your Glock, you will notice that the slide doesn't cycle, but a BB came out. That's the kind of problem that you have. You may also notice that your cycling speed may be a little bit slower than usual. You may also notice that you may have occasionally jam. That's the reason why. Sorry if I'm not explaining it very well. So the solution is quite simple. All you have to do is file this area. Just file it a little bit. Use sandpaper or use a small handheld file. All you need to do is file it to the point where you can move the chamber freely. So sometimes the chamber will still get stuck. See, it just got stuck again. You should file it to this point. Notice how I barely filed anything. And the chamber can move freely now. For the guys out there who did not do this modification, you actually don't need to worry about this modification. The reason why this is because you can actually forcefully use your gun a lot and break it in by hand to make the slide smooth. Now, the reason why you can do that is because if you use it a lot, what will happen is that you will wear out this side of the outer barrel or the stub of the hop-up chamber. You can also wear out the top side of your outer barrel, and when you wear those out to a certain point, your slide will start moving a little bit faster. That's the reason why airsoft builders think that there is a break-in time. In reality, you can just sort of hand fit it yourself, but some people like to prefer break-in time. Some people prefer to hand fit. I prefer hand fit, but it's really up to you. When I say hand fit, I mean correcting the mechanical timing. For example, just now when I mentioned modifying this area over here to let the chamber move freely, I also want to make the outer barrel drop faster. And by doing that, I can change the mechanical timing. I can make the slope, I can increase it so it will drop faster. And because it will drop faster, it will let the slide cycle faster. Because it will just get right out of the way and let the slide do its thing. That's what I mean by hand fitting. You normally don't need to do it. Do it only if you want to. Again, at the beginning of problem number 3, or my fitment note number 3, I said only do it if you have to. If you don't have to, don't do it. For my final fitment note, and this is something that will make many of you guys happy. So Nova slides are normally loose left and right, up and down, making them very not gamer friendly. The reason why they're not gamer friendly is because if the slide is loose in every direction, your accuracy goes right out the window. Also, you won't be able to do the IPSC mod in order for you to eliminate the rotor issue. The rotor issue, again, is when the slide slows down or gets stuck on the rotor. But in this particular case, it appears that for all the TTI slides, Nova has done some updates to the design. It appears that there is almost little to no up and down play. It's not even visible. Well, maybe, but there's barely any up and down play, just barely. There is still a bit of tiny side-to-side play, but it's not as much as it used to be. So this is a significant improvement compared to before. It's because Nova slides back then was basically for show, and that's about it. Nowadays, it appears that Nova has stepped up the quality externally, and they also stepped up the quality in terms of the internal fitment. So this is actually great news for all of you guys. It's because in the future, Nova may be making slides with a better up and down tolerance, which significantly increases the long-term reliability. Leading me to the pricing and conclusion of this review. As I mentioned earlier, my slides came from boombox.com. Not all of them belong to me, of course. Some of them belong to my friends. The silver one is mine, though, because the silver one is really cool. But anyways, all these slides, they retail for roughly around 900 to 1,100 Hong Kong dollars, which translates to roughly around 110 to 150 US dollars. Keep in mind that these slides are in such high demand that the price will really depend on when and where you buy them. For the first batch, when these slides first came out, you had a 17 and a 34. Both of them are black color with a shiny side finish. They did not come with any other colors back then. And they both come with a bright golden yellow outer barrel. For the second batch or third batch or whatever batch that came out in early 2017, in early April 2017, those slides mostly look like 34s. I don't think there was any more 17s. So for the 34s, for the early April, they have the exact same black version with a shiny side finish. However, the window cut is larger. Which I'm calling them the Gen 2s. The Gen 2s all have a larger window cut. And they also come with this weird satin nickel color outer barrel. There's also another color option, which is the silver one, which is my personal favorite. And the last color option available is a Glock 34 with a matte finish. The matte finish, it does not have this shiny side finish at all. The whole entire slide is just a matte, deep, dark black color. So overall, I think these slides are great. I'm really happy that Nova decided to make some updates to some of their tolerances, to some of their specs to make it a little bit tighter, and also the gun still moves. So this is a super beginner-friendly kit that pretty much everyone can buy, and you won't have any trouble fitting this onto your TM Glock. This took little to no effort to assemble. Again, I only spent about 5 minutes max, maybe less, assembling it, and I only took that long is because I didn't want to scratch the slide. Oh, by the way, if you want to top off your TTI build with a magwell, you can actually pick up a magwell from Ready Fighter. Ready Fighter actually makes these TTI replica magwells that look really, really cool. They also make a gold color version, and they're actually functional. Notice that they actually have a cutout for you to insert magazines like the Pro-In mags or any extension base plates. They actually did a relief inside over here, as you guys can see. Anyways, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. I also have a Facebook page that you can follow me on, in which I'll leave a link in the description box below. If you got Airsoft Glock questions, you can actually check out my Facebook page or my Facebook group, which is G17 Technical Q&A group, where you can send me the questions so I can do it for my Q&A show, which I will try to do as often as I can. And all the links will be in the description box below. And lastly, if you like what I do on the channel and if you would like to support it, please check out my online store at raytacticalsolutions.com. We actually have economy shipping now, which is great. You can actually pick up the RTS 7785 T6 blowback housing unit from there. You can also pick up this blowback housing unit from eHobby Asia, or you can pick it up from gasrackcentral.com, which is a store based in the US. So anyways, peace guys, happy shooting, and thanks for watching.